All right, welcome to the Stratford Regional Planning Commission. It's September 23rd, 2021, 3:54 p.m. And I will get us started. We have a couple of administrative things to get through. One is the quorum. We have a lack of a quorum. We have enough people, but not enough communities represented. So I am allowed to do that under the existing bylaws to declare quorum with the unanimous approval of those commissioners present in the room. So we can quickly do that. And we'll start with Bill.
Yes.
Yes. Don.
Yes.
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 And Landry is the final one. So we've got the quorum subject set. And I'm also going to mention right now, even though the agenda says the meeting goes till 5, it's supposed to say 5:30. So I'm giving people a heads up on that. Okay. And that allows us now to do the introductions of everyone. And I'll start in the room. So just say your name and I'll just go around the room and then we'll grab the 3 remote commissioners and the other guests, SRPC members that are here. So Bill, I'll start you off.
Hi, Bill Fisher, Farmington.
Don Hammond, Rochester.
Rick Michaud, Somersworth.
Mark Richardson, Somersworth.
Barbara Holstein, Rochester.
Tom Crosby, Madbury.
Herb Bueller, Rollinsford.
Gary Anderson, Nottingham.
Dave Landry, Dover.
Jen Sis, Stratford Regional Planning Commission.
Okay, and the commissioners on the line, who do we got? We've got 3 people, I think, is Charlene Anderson. Okay, and Evan McGoogle and Peter Nelson.
Here.
Thank you. And then Jen.
Sure, we'll do staff. And I want to start first with Blair. Blair, you want to wave and say hi to everyone? Blair is our new planner. Just joined us last week. If you remember, Steph left back in the end of May. And so Blair has joined us, is working a little bit more than half time. Essentially splitting the position with Autumn, who I think some of you met this summer, who was one of our summer interns. So they're both on as 24 hours a week staff members. Blair is going to be working with the town of Nottingham as well as a few of our other projects. So just wanted to do that introduction. You want to say hi?
Welcome. We're usually about half this crazy, so
yeah.
Welcome.
All right, and so other staff on the screen, Megan. Jackson.
Stephen GIS, SRPC.
Nancy. Natalie. Shayna. Rachel.
Hello.
James. And Susie calling in from Norway.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, so we finished 1. Welcomes. 2 action items. We're going to do one thing. I'd like to do this, and we're going to move number D under 2, which is adoption of the amended SRPC bylaws. We went through that at the last meeting, you recall. I'm going to move that up to the top, and the simplest explanation is a practical matter. Once we do that first, people remotely can vote on things, just like everybody in the room. We'll get past this subject of not being able to do that. So on the bylaws, Shayna, you want to just give us a high level? We did go through this in some detail the other day.
Yeah, we just changed the language in a couple spots just to make it very clear that we still have to have an in-person quorum per RSA 91A, but that this will allow those people attending out like over and above the quorum to attend remotely and still vote on the agenda item. So just kind of a couple small language changes just to make sure that we were safe in explicitly saying that in our bylaws.
Does anybody have any questions, or was anything that's come up since you saw something that concerned you about it? Okay. And I'll entertain a motion on that.
So moved.
Bill, I think. Yep. And a second.
Second.
Second is Tom. And this is an aye or nay here because we're all doing this now, right?
Well, actually, I guess for this one, just everyone here votes, and then anything else will be the folks on screen will vote. And when the folks on screen vote, we have to
We'll go
switch
back to
to,
that.
we'll have to go back to
Okay.
roll call.
Okay. Motion was made by Bill?
No.
Don, I'm sorry. And it was seconded by Tom. Okay. Start with you.
Yay.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, that passes. And now we're done with that and we're on to the minutes. Any question on the minutes from July 16th, 2021?
Second.
Okay. Anybody got any questions? No? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Roll call.
I thought we were going to pass that.
No, that was reverse. That last one we could have done just as a,
Don't tell me.
sorry.
Okay. Okay. Don?
Yes.
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 Bingo.
Okay.
Okay. You don't have to
Okay. Yes.
He's non-using thing. He doesn't get to vote.
Ever
Ever.
Ever.
apologize.
So you get the choice.
I
Sorry.
appreciate you're here. Yes. And on remotely,
Evan?
Evan,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Charlene.
He's also from Nottingham.
So no. Okay. Right along. We have, well, this is the appropriate one, I guess. We have the B. We're on the original B. Approval of executive committee recommended fiscal year 2023 dues rates. And there's a chart, a one-page spreadsheet sort of thing. And we've done this before, and we did. Did you pick it up on this one? I might, but anybody? Okay. I think everybody's seen this chart before from last year. And we went through the executive meeting and we were trying to make a decision on which of three choices to take on what to do with the dues. And so the nut of it all is, given multiple different factors, we came to the conclusion the most appropriate thing to do would be to keep the dues as is from the last fiscal year. And we can go into detail if people want to on why that is, but it seems appropriate from both the practical standpoint and just a prudent standpoint, given the COVID issues and the costs involved in all of that to our communities, and wanting to keep people engaged to fully participate as best as possible. And then finally, we were also dealing with a potential issue with the CPI, the Consumer Price Index figure that we have to use to even contemplate changes in the dues, and it ballooned up to over 5%. And so with that in mind, we thought, well, it's probably not appropriate to build in something with such a significant increase on a really, really outlying type of year. So for all those reasons, we decided that it makes most sense to keep the dues the same as the last period of time, but we can talk about that. So
I'll make a motion to approve.
okay.
Second.
All right, Tom. This is going to include everyone except for two folks.
Yeah. Correct.
All right, with Bill.
Yes.
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 Yes. And on the line, we've got Evan,
Yes.
Peter.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, now moving on to the handbook, the former 2C. Acceptance of the fiscal year 2021 SRPC annual report and commissioner's handbook, which we pretty much all got this afternoon. There's some of these hard copies on your desk. I think we'll have Shana and Jen talk us through that.
Yeah, so I just kind of finished this today, really down to the wire. So sorry that you got it in such short of advance of the meeting, but it is just an acceptance. It's the same format that we used last year, so more concise than we'd used in the previous years. We have our staff directory. We now put our projects into a table, so you can kind of see every project, the funding source, who worked on it, kind of what areas the project was in. That's a nice little overview. It's more measure focused, so we use a lot of numbers to kind of show what we've done throughout the year in terms of outreach, in terms of grants we've applied for, meetings we've gone to, partners we've worked with. This year we focused on kind of the digital initiatives that we took. Instead of last year, we focused on some different conferences we had traveled to, which wasn't really an option this year. We decided to highlight things in the areas we had framed the website. So we highlighted a plan, a service, a collaboration, which is when we work with other partners around the state, and a project. So that's throughout the report. There's one of each of those, an overview of some of the GIS maps that we worked on. Jackson's going to talk a little bit more about that when we talk about our new website. Other than that, just kind of an overview of all the great work we did this year and all the awesome partners we got to work with. The only section that we're waiting on is some testimonials. We've reached out to some of our partners, and we're going to get some testimonials. That was suggested. I forget if it was who suggested that last year. Maybe it was Joe, I'm not sure, but that was a great idea. So we're doing that again this year. And then it follows at the end with the budget for the current fiscal year.
Okay, I'm looking forward to taking a really thorough look through it, just to kind of high level, glancing at it today. It looks very well done. It's very attractive. I found it something that at first glance that I'm looking forward to sitting down and walking through it all and learn a few things. So does anybody have any comments, or Mark?
Yeah, I do. I had a chance to look at it this afternoon, and again, I was looking at a couple of things a little bit more closely as we got started here. When you put it in this context, I'm truly amazed at the amount of work you all have done. The numbers speak for themselves. The number of contacts you've had across the region over the course of the last year, the number of things you've worked on, it's overwhelming. I mean, it's a lot, especially under the conditions of COVID. So just as my own personal testimonial, thank you very much for all the work that you've done.
Well said. Anybody else have a comment? Anybody out on remote? too? At one-
Peter's got a couple comments here.
Oh, okay. Can you-
First, I think it's more just like a behind the scenes one here. He's looking for everyone's contact information. And let's see, will we be making the data available via the new website? We'll get to the new website shortly. On the surface, the document looks comprehensive and professionally formatted. However, it still seems to be available only as a static PDF document, if I am not mistaken. That is kind of the standard format for an annual report. Although I will say a lot of what is here, you will find more dynamically on the new website when we present that.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, it kind of made it a little easier to write the report this year because we had generated a lot of new content for the new website. So that's definitely the more interactive, timely resource. And this is kind of just a snapshot in time of what we did for the year.
Anything else from anybody? Okay, we are looking for a motion on accepting that.
Motion to approve the annual report.
Okay, Don, second.
Second.
We're gonna go around the room.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And Evan,
Yes.
Peter.
Yes.
Okay, that's approved. Okay, now, let's see, that brings us to 3. Feature presentation, and there's an SRPC website demonstration, and we've got Shana, Rachel, Jackson.
Yes, let me get my PowerPoint up 1 second. Sorry, I thought I was pretty good at technology, but I need a second. Okay, I think I might have figured it out. Let's try this. Can you see the screen?
Very good.
Okay. So I'm gonna kick off with the unveil of the reveal of our new logo. So I put a little sound effect in here. I don't know if it's gonna work though. So this is our new logo. We have it in a couple different orientations. So this is the really like bold horizontal version. The icon that is the A is kind of a standalone that can also be used to represent the Planning Commission in different areas like with social media, profile pictures and things like that. Here on the left is the more vertical version next to kind of the colors that we're going to be using on our website or that we have used on our new website and we'll be using in a lot of our standard documents. And those are the 2 fonts that make up the logo. Just a kind of like thought process of how I came up with this idea. I thought it could kind of represent a north arrow and we could use it potentially on our mapping documents. Tying in some kind of regional geography, like the mountainous areas to the north of our region, the hilly areas. Land kind of just representing land use. That kind of absent white space is kind of like a path or a road, kind of representing the transportation planning work that we do. And we do a lot of water resource work and coastal adaptation work. So that's kind of the thought process that went in behind designing the icon itself. We decided to not have 3 separate logos. We've always talked about how we try to make our identity more clear and how it can be a little confusing that we have these different designations. So when we need separate letterheads or something very specific for the MPO or the EDD, we're going to use our same icon and just have that say what that organization is if we do need to do an official letterhead for some reason for certain transportation projects, but we'll all tie it in. And we mostly refer to ourselves as the Planning Commission. We're going to continue to do that and kind of work on explaining that these other 2 things are designations, they're functions that we do, but we overall are Stratford Regional Planning Commission. We also designed a grayscale version and a white scale version. So when we need to put it on darker backgrounds, different outreach materials, marketing materials, reports, things like that, we have all the varieties. We haven't really had that in the past with our current logo, so we wanted to make sure it was really versatile to use in a lot of different scenarios. And to go with our new logo and branding, we are launching our new website next week. So I am going to jump in and start to give you a little overview and sneak peek of the website. Following myself, Rachel will continue on with that overview and give some more details. And then Jackson will talk about the mapping components and our ARC online account. It's gonna make me log in, even though I just did. So 1 second. So it's secured right now since we haven't launched it yet. Oh, and I didn't put the password in correctly, so 1 second. I did just type it 5 minutes ago, so I'm surprised it locked me out, but. Okay, let me just get my notes in front of me. So this is the homepage. We wanted it to be very clean and kind of be a general overview from the start of our core planning areas and some links on the side to the main components of our site. I'm going to talk about some of these and then Rachel is going to follow up after me. We decided it'd be interesting to have a featured project on the home screen that would change depending on what projects we're working on. And right now we have 2 up here, so you can scroll over to the right and it'll give you information about another project. When you would click these projects, it would link to the project listing itself, so you could learn more about what that initiative is. On the right here, we have our calendar, which is a very improved version of what we had on our old site. You can view a listing like this where it's succinct, or you can see a whole calendar and go back and see previous meetings, upcoming meetings. So that's a great feature. These core planning areas are right here to kind of call out the main things that we do. And then bottom here, notices and news would change with things we have out for public comment, new program areas, things like that. So that's kind of just an overview of the homepage. We're excited to tie in our new logo and our new colors. So that's all consistent throughout the site. Something we did that you'll notice once we launch next week and you get to dive more in is we tried to use photos a lot. On our current website, we didn't really have the ability to integrate photos very easily. So we want to make sure we used photos to kind of tell our story. And so we try to use photos of outreach, of interacting with our commissioners, members of the public, us at different events and things like that. So we've been really over the past couple of years trying to take more photos. It's been a little difficult over the last 1.5 years with the pandemic, but we had a good base to work with from the past couple of years. Another thing we integrated into the site is measures. So some of the project pages and so our site is broken up into projects, plans, services, documents. So there's different key areas and each of those have a landing page and a lot of those have statistics that we can change and update either monthly, quarterly. I can show you an example of one of those pages. believe it's on the outreach page. Or, sorry, one second. GIS Communications and Marketing. So we have these kind of fun number tickers that we can update regularly to show our initiatives and the amount of people we're reaching. We also have all the dashboards up there, which is a tool we use at our executive committee meetings. So we're really trying to get more numbers, more measures integrated with the site to show like the work that we do and enumerate that. And one other cool feature is we tied in our social media accounts. We use a platform called Juicer, which allows you to pull in your feed of all your social media posts. It also separates them by the different platforms. So you can even see our YouTube videos all in one place on our site, which is a really cool feature. So that's kind of some of the key like outreach and kind of like approaches we took for using photos, for including the measures and some of these cool engagement features. I'm going to do a quick overview of some of the commission meeting materials and how to find those before I turn it over to Rachel. We wanted to make the site, and Rachel will mention this in a little more detail, really redundant and have multiple ways to find things. So with each calendar listing, I think this is a good example to use, I forget. With each calendar listing, they'll have the packet attached, and we'll go back and attach the minutes once they've been approved. So an easy way to find the meeting materials is to go to the calendar and go to previous meetings and find them that way. Also under our reference tab, we have a meeting material archive. This lists all of the minutes and packets for all of the meetings, but you can also sort them by date, fiscal year. You can even sort them by committee. So it makes it really easy to find all of those past materials. And also under our about and governance page, that's where we link up to all the different committees that we have. You could go to the commission page or commissioners page, and they're also pulled in that way under documents. So it makes it really great that you can search and find them in different ways. People's minds work differently. So we tried to make it approachable and like I said, redundant for people to find things. So I will turn it over to Rachel to continue the overview. There's a lot on the site, so we're not going to get to everything today, but once we launch next week, we're really excited for you guys all to be able to explore it a little bit more. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and turn it over to Rachel.
Leave it there for, oops, 1 second. So you saw, while they're transitioning, you saw on the commissioners page, there were little tiles. We do have all commissioners listed there with terms and dates and communities. That is populated using Airtable, which is a database behind the website, and you can download that list of commissioners directly from there. So that's kind of getting to one of Peter's comments that he had earlier in the chat box. We have not published commissioner contact information because I'm personally not comfortable with that. It puts maybe putting your home phone numbers and whatnot up on the website and in emails up on the website. Not comfortable with that. Also from the security perspective of by having that information published, it creates more of a security risk for us in terms of spoofed emails coming in, which we have had. I know a few people on the executive committee experienced that a few years ago. So not something that we want to do and expose ourselves to. So. And also the whole 91A thing, I'm paranoid. So I'm giving you a chance to create ex parte communications.
Yeah, so like Shayna was saying, we're trying to make sure that you can get to everything in multiple ways. But we also want to make sure that everything can be found without having to know exactly how we classify that contract. So rather than needing to know whether or not a project is land use or municipal assistance or transportation or whichever other topic area, everything can be found through you can find it through the topic areas, but you can also find it through our project portal. And the high level words in the menu, as much as possible, are verbs and actions that we're taking, and not topic specific. And so within the project portal, and similar to the meeting material archive that Shayna showed, everything is here, and you can sort things. You can sort the project portal by name or date, filter it by type in those classifications that Shayna mentioned a couple of times, fiscal year, topic, and by town. And so if you wanted to see specifically projects that are in your municipality, these are projects that are focused on that particular municipality. And then anywhere that these filters exist, clicking the reset button will bring you back to the beginning with everything listed again. Kind of building off of that, you can find things by going to the topic page. So for example, all of our transportation initiatives, transportation related events, staff committees, plans, projects, services, documents, and maps. Everything can be found here on the transportation page, but it also can be found by using the topic filter on any of the pages that have filters. So then all of the same project services, collaborations, and maps will all show up here as well. Sorry, not maps on this one. For maps, there's a map gallery that Jackson will talk about a little bit more detailed in a little bit. We have also a document library, which is specifically the documents that SRPC has developed. And so the thumbnails are the cover page, and then if you click on it, it tells a little bit about the document, related topics, similar documents or documents with similar topics, who worked on it, and if you click on the cover, it will open the document in a new tab. We've also put a lot of focus on accessibility. The old website, I don't know how many of you use Android phones, but it was definitely not mobile responsive or accessible at all. I don't know to the extent that our images had any alt tags or screen readers, or how screen reader friendly it was, but I don't imagine it was very screen reader friendly. But we've made a big effort to make sure that all of our images have alt text, and that everything is accessible for those with screen readers or on any different devices. We also have...
I'll just mention, Rachel, that for those that don't know what alt text is, it's basically if a screen reader is accessing the site, it'll tell the person what the photo is of. So we wrote a short description for every single photo that we've incorporated into our website.
Yeah, thanks. So we also have this accessibility toolbar on every page of the site, and if you click on it, you can use different tools that will manipulate the site to make it more accessible depending on what particular accessibility needs the user has. You can increase the text size, have a guide, keep track of where you are, shift colors. I believe animation just halts animation. highlight different features on the page, and more. And so there is more information about the accessibility features in the footer menu under accessibility. There. Another resource that we have on here is acronyms. We speak in many acronyms. Just in the past couple of days with notes that people have sent me for edits to make to the site, I've come across some acronyms that I didn't recognize, and I've been here for a few years now. So we have this acronym list that is filterable. So you can add a condition and type in a acronym, and it will filter it so that you can see what it means. Or if you know what something is when it's spelled out and would like to know what the acronym is, you can change it to name and type in the name of whatever you're looking for as well. You can sort A to Z on the acronym or the name as well. Our communities tab has a community profile for each of the 18 communities, as well as this landing page with an interactive map. You can click on a community and have a link to the community profile or the municipality's website, as well as some quick stats about the town. And then the community profile page has a little bit about the history of the community, the town or city seal, a link to the site, some more detailed statistics, committee members for each of the committees, and ongoing or past projects, documents, and maps. Sorry, I have a list on the other screen as far away from this as it can be, so that's not very convenient layout. Each of the projects has a page with a little bit of information about the start and end date of the project, where it took place, who worked on it, any logos that Shayna made for the project, and documents, maps, and information about the project.
Rachel, I don't think we had this on our notes, but as you saw on the right, it shows the staff who are associated with that project. And if you click on the staff, it'll bring you to their staff listing, which also will show like the projects that they're associated with on their own staff listing. So that's kind of a cool way to see like, oh, what's Kyle working on right now? What's Autumn working on right now? So I don't think we had that in our notes to mention, but that's kind of a cool feature.
We did not. Yeah. So this is what Steven's working on. Similarly, each of our services have a little overview, and then the services have different information from service to service, depending on what we found important to highlight there. So some of them are very simple, just who to contact and a map or a document or two, and then others are more in depth and have more examples of our work, or in this case of Shayna's work. And then the reference tab also has lots of resources by topic area. And so on each of these pages, they're set up differently. All of them are tabs like this, but they'll have different information, whether it's links or explanations about different resources or where to find different things. And then the search functionality works pretty well. A little bit of fine tuning to do with that. But if we search for transit, it should pull up everything related to transit. That one needs a little bit more formatting, but it's getting close. I think that that is all that I had, so I will hand it over to Jackson.
Cool, thanks, Rachel. Can everyone see my screen all right now? Cool. For those who don't know me, I'm Jackson Rand. I'm the GIS planner here at SRPC, and I'm going to give us just a quick overview of the mapping resources we have on our new website. So to get to what we're looking at now is the Mapping and GIS landing page on our new website, and you can find this under the Measure tab and Mapping and GIS. So on here, you'll be able to find anything related to GIS and mapping that you might be looking for. And I'm going to go through these green buttons on the right, which is where most of our resources live. So this first button, Interactive Map Gallery, will bring you right to our ARC Online homepage. And for those of you who have been commissioners for a little while, you've heard us talking a lot about the ARC Online page over the past year. If you look through here, you can see some of our most popular ARC Online resources, which right now are Open Data Portal, our Tax Parcel Viewer, and the Promoting Outdoor Play Project recreation tool. We also have all of our standard maps on ARC Online in an online and interactive format. We have a lot of projects maps on here, which continues to keep growing. The number of maps we have that represent projects and plans that we've worked on. And at the bottom of the page, we have a small collection of story maps. This last button, called ARC Online Webinar, will take you to a YouTube video of a webinar that we ran back in December of 2020, which shows you how to use all of the resources on the ARC Online page I was just showing you. So if you have any questions about what exists on our ARC Online page and how to use it, this video will answer all your questions. But you can also reach out to me if you have any questions about what's on the ARC Online site and how to use it. The next button, called Map Gallery, shows the gallery of all of the maps that we have uploaded on the website. So this is very similar to the project portal and the document library that Rachel was showing us, but this is just maps. So every map uploaded to our website can be found here, and you can filter it the same way that you can filter projects on the project portal that Rachel was just demonstrating. The standard maps page has all of our ARC Online standard maps and all of our static standard maps in one place. So this first row of icons will bring you to any of the ARC Online standard maps. You can get there directly from here rather than having to navigate to the ARC Online homepage and finding them that way. This middle section shows all of our static standard maps. Static meaning that they are a PDF document that you cannot interact with and click on and play with. And these are sorted by topic area. So we have community features map, conservation and recreation map, and a bunch of others that you can click through. This last row has all of our standard maps sorted by municipality. So for each of these topic areas, we have a standard map showing the entire SRPC region and a separate standard map zoomed into every municipality. So if you go to this bottom section, you will find all of the standard maps for each of the specified municipalities. Back to the GIS and mapping landing page, we also have a map request form here. The map request form we ask to be filled out by any person or municipality or organization when they're looking for any GIS or mapping services. This helps us keep a track of what is being requested and helps us estimate costs for our mapping services. And lastly, we have a GIS resources button. This will take you to all of the GIS resources that we have available for you to use. So that would include everything that I've already gone over, a collection of GIS software products. There are free softwares here and also paid softwares here that are available. We have a collection of our most popularly used sites to download GIS data from. We have a collection of mapping portals that are similar to what we have on our ARC Online site, but hosted by primarily other state agencies. And a variety of other helpful mapping and GIS resources that we have available. The last thing you'll find on this page is a collection of our GIS services. So each of these services shown here, if you click on it, it'll take you to a separate page with introduction text about what that service is, as well as staff who can be contacted to help you with this GIS service, and a collection of example maps or projects that we've done in the past related to that service. So right here, you're looking at tax maps. Staff shown are me and Stephen. We are the tax map team at SRPC. So if you have any tax map help you'd like, we're the ones you can reach out to. And then we have a collection of examples of recent tax map updates we've done for municipalities in the region. So that is my general overview of the mapping and GIS resources we have on the website. I believe I'm now turning it back to Dave Landry and opening it up for Q&A. I'm pretty sure.
Thanks, Jackson. Thank you all three of you, Rachel and Jackson and Shana. I'm looking forward to playing with this thing. I have a couple of quick questions. When we get a chance to do that, and probably next week sometime, okay. If we have any questions about it, I'm not sure where we might direct them or something. I have a feeling that once we get to start pushing actual buttons and linking up to different things, we're bound to have some questions. So I just wanted to ask that before I forgot.
You can send those to Rachel.
Can send those to Rachel. I got a couple more questions, but if anybody has got some questions before I hog the time here. Anybody have any questions so far? Mark?
Yeah, thank you very much, first of all, for the list of acronyms. Every industry has its acronyms, and it's important that we understand them. And there's so many of them, we probably forget them from time to time. So having that resource is very productive for me anyway. And I think anybody who's looking from the outside world, that's helpful to them as well. I do have a question about the maps. And will member communities be able to link directly from their own community websites to those maps? So somebody can be on a town website, see the link and click on it, and it goes right to it.
Yeah, you should be able to. I think there's a few communities already who provide a direct link to our mapping page. It's just a matter of embedding the link on the town or city website.
Well, I was hoping it would be that easy. So do they have to fill out the form to do that?
No, the form is just for print materials for us to kind of track that internally. It's predominantly we'll get inquiries from like private individuals, nonprofits, other groups that aren't our dues paying municipalities, and it's just our way to track those. We do, most of our mapping services or printing maps is free of charge to our dues paying communities. So it's, again, just a way for us to kind of track it internally for invoicing purposes.
All right, thank you. That's a good thing.
Any of our mapping resources you can link to your town's webpage. It's just a matter of finding the right person in your town who can update your town's website, because that's not something that we are able to put on your town's website for you.
Thank you. That's a good comment.
I will add also on the acronym list, I forgot to mention when I was there, but at the bottom of the page, you can download an Excel file with all of the acronyms as well if you want to have a cheat sheet for yourself.
Other comments or questions?
Just a comment. I just really think that the mapping being on the site like it is really going to be helpful to all of us, because we can quickly know where to find it and also know if there's something we're missing or you know we think we might need mapping done. We can verify that it's not, you know, hasn't been done yet. Sometimes that's not always clear.
Question? Anybody?
So we've got something from Peter in the chat box. Offered kudos on all the hard work that went into this. Improvements are significant and welcome. His main question revolves around integrating database access within the website. For example, when will we ever get to the point where we can see and comment on every transportation project, every minor adjustment, etc. online? So all of the tip and all the associated minors and adjustments, those will all be posted to the site. They are currently posted to our website. They're just impossible to find. But I think one of the handy features in there is if you go to the project, it'll have all the associated documents. So you'll have the tip, you'll have the minors, you'll have the amendments all right there. In terms of the ability to comment on things, I am so sorry, but that's not going to happen. So there's twofold issues with opening things up for comments online. One, if we end up with multiple commissioners online providing comments, either in a public facing portal or in a behind a login portal, we create the potential of a 91A violation of having series of communications amongst a quorum of the board. Don't want to do that. Don't want to create the perceived, image that might be happening. Simultaneously opening up comments publicly. We don't have the staff resources to moderate that and monitor it and make sure that it doesn't have any bad things in there. So unfortunately, it's very much so a one-way communication out.
Thanks, Jen. Anybody else out there? I just had one other. I was curious. Are multiple people going to be doing updates on the site, or is it assigned to one lucky person, or how's that going to work?
Team.
We have to kind of make a process for a lot of that, but the thought is I think I had showed you that some of the pages have statistics. We do, I do monthly dashboards. So my plan is when I do that monthly dashboard to update some of those numbers on a monthly basis. I got some numbers from James from the Brownfields program I'm going to be putting in. He does quarterly reports for that. So we're going to try to integrate it into our processes that when James is doing his quarterly Brownfields report, I would get those stats and update them on the website. Or when I do my monthly dashboard, I would then also go add those stats to the website. So we're gonna have to integrate that into some of our processes. As far as meeting materials go, we're gonna have Megan have a login to the website. So she's gonna help with getting documents up there for meetings and things like that. So it's not really going to be any one person. I would think myself, I've always kind of helped with website coordination, would be doing a lot of that updating. And with help from Rachel, we kind of tagged team this whole thing. So with a lot of help from all the other staff. So I think it's going to be like a team effort with a couple key players that are the ones that more regularly are updating things on the site.
Well, to the extent that you know, you built this thing, it looks wonderful. You know, to the extent it starts taking up a fair amount of time, which it might, you know, if you can have some metrics on that or some data on that, you might, you know, might run into a staffing, you know, staffing need.
Right. I think we should be in a good position. So one of the things, just to kind of brag a little bit about our team, because they're not doing it quite as much. This is entirely built in-house. The design was Shayna's and Rachel figured out how to build it. So, I mean, it is 100% ours. So we have a lot of ability to customize everything with the website. And one of the things that they brought to this effort was experience with our existing, soon to be former website, where they didn't have as much ability to go in and edit and modify as time went on. So with that in mind, they've got a good feel for what works, what doesn't work. And a lot of what went into the back end design was, how do we do this in a way that's streamlined and really facilitates our ability to update and maintain the site? And that was one of the biggest challenges we had with the existing former site.
Yeah, I'd like to say that as someone who's built many websites in the past, it's a very nice design, and I know the amount of work that had to go into it.
A tremendous amount.
And I understand completely the amount of work that's going to go into keeping it up to date. So kudos to the team.
Yeah, and I know they recognize just the sheer magnitude of work that went into it and have pulled several other people in and have trained them in how to do a lot of that back end updates and maintenance as well. So, which is great because we have some redundancy because then when at 4:30 p.m. on a Friday and I say, oh my God, I need to post the executive committee packet and I haven't sent it out yet. And everyone else has left for the day, there's someone who can do it. So.
Anything else from anyone? Okay.
I think they did an excellent job.
Yeah, very nice. Go.
Just there were just a couple other items in the chat box. Charlene said it looked fabulous. Kudos to you all. Sheena said thank you. We are excited to launch it, and that Mike Babinski is cropping. Said it looks great and impressive work here. I am looking forward to interacting with it, share with my staff, and promote its use. I appreciate the discussion plans about how to update and keep data current.
Okay, so let's see. We'll move on to the next item. The economic development program. There's some 1 to 2 minute times for James, Natalie, and Jen on multiple different subjects. And we can go right to James. Is that what you're ready to do?
Go for it.
Sounds
Okay.
great. Thanks, Dave. So I'm James Bredian. I'm the Senior Regional Planner working on economic development projects. I'm here to talk to you and give you a quick overview of 2 things that we have going on. The first is our Seacoast Economic Development Stakeholders Group that has been meeting since the beginning of the pandemic. This is a lot of our local economic development directors, chambers of commerce, some state agencies, representatives of our congressional delegation, people like that. We're still meeting every Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. And we have actually started with this week recording those meetings and posting them to our YouTube channel. So for people who aren't able to make it in real time at 9 a.m., if you're interested in what we have going on, what we're talking about. You can watch those after the fact. If any of your communities aren't participating or engaging those and you're interested, please just send me an email or Natalie or Zuzi, and we'll be happy to add any of you to our distribution list so you can get the agendas when they go out in advance and decide whether you want to sign in for a given conversation. We've also gotten a little bit of good press. This group that we have been running served as the model for a concept that BEA has been trying to expand statewide, that they are calling Collaborative Economic Development Regions, or CEDARs. They just had a press conference yesterday afternoon with some information about that program, and I was able to attend that. So keep your eyes peeled that we will have a few news stories to share related to that. I did pull a few stats for that event that I want to share with you all because I was really excited by them. We held our first call on March 31st of 2020. Since then, we've convened, as of the end of August, 76 total calls with 1,183 total attendees. That comes out to 15 or 16 people per call and 111 separate individuals that have gone into that total number. So this has been a huge effort. It's been really well received throughout the region, and we're really excited about it. Something that we're working on right now as a group, we are pulling together some information to submit a Build Back Better application to the U.S. Economic Development Administration. And if we are successful in that application process, that would be a lot of resources coming into our region. The application is specifically focused on sort of a hub focused on blue economy and several related riverine, coastal, and offshore type of investments that we can make in our economy. The other program that I'm talking to you about today is SRPC's Brownfields program. We are working with a few new sites through that program, including the Somersworth National Guard site. We've already completed a phase 1 at that facility in order to give the cities some liability protections when they get ownership back from the National Guard sometime this year. We have a phase 2 ESA in the works. We didn't anticipate any significant contamination at that site, but there had been some historic investigations in the past, and we wanted to do a follow-up just to make sure that everything was still looking good related to those. And then we held a site walk last week to start off a planning process for potential reuses at that site. The city has a commission that's focused on reuse, and we're doing a little bit of work with them to identify some potential options that they might consider for that site going forward. We are also going to be setting up our work plan for calendar year 2022 very soon. So if your community has sites that you'd like us to consider working with, please reach out as we are setting that up. And as Shana mentioned, we did pull a few stats for this program lately as well. So to run through those really quickly, through the life of this program, we've had 2 EPA assessment grants totaling $700,000. With that money to date, we have managed to work with 17 different sites, a total of 22 phase 1 or 2 ESAs that we've completed or in progress. And that investment has leveraged over $13 million in either cleanup grants or subsequent funding or private investment to reuse those sites. So a lot of exciting things. With that, I'm going to hand it over to Natalie to talk about some of our CARES Act work.
Thank you so much, James, and good afternoon, everyone. I'm Natalie Moles, Economic Recovery Coordinator for SRPC. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about some of the CARES Act initiatives that we're involved in and some of the ongoing services available for your communities. So the first initiative that I wanted to quickly talk about is our Technical Assistance Program for small businesses. This program was made possible using CARES grant funds, and we have partnered with private consultants to provide technical support to small businesses in different areas, including marketing, advertising, generic IT, audiovisual support, and website development. And what this program consists of is offering a total of 3 hours of support in any of those areas. And the idea is that they are free of charge to the businesses, to those businesses in a region that have been negatively impacted by COVID. The consultants that we have partnered with were carefully selected through our procurement process, and they are also local business owners. So it's sort of a win-win for both sides. We do hope that these connections will create a more permanent relationship between the businesses and the consultants beyond those 3 hours. So far, just to give you an idea, we have connected a total of 35 businesses since the launch of the project, which was about a month and a half ago. And we do have funding that allows for support for a total of about 45 businesses. The next program I wanted to talk to you about is what we call our BIGS email blasts. What that stands for is businesses in good standing, and that is a list, this project has been ongoing since January. We sent emails to all of the businesses that are registered with the Secretary of State's Businesses in Good Standing list, which is where we got the BIGS list from. What we do is we engage in research, we attend webinars, we engage in outreach with partners at the different levels of government. And the idea is to gather and share really up-to-date information on the local, state, and federal level on resources and funding opportunities that are available for small businesses. This is just a way to quickly pass on information to local businesses as it becomes available, and just allows businesses to have access to that information in a really timely manner. The idea of these businesses is to provide really high-level information, not to overwhelm the business owners. And we include links to more in-depth information and direct access to some of the grant information and program applications to those who might be of interest. This correspondence, the great thing about this correspondence, I should say, is that it also connects us to local businesses, and that helps create those relationships with SRPC staff and the local businesses, because through these emails, we open the door for businesses to reach out to us for help. And we can either provide them with the direct support in-house, or we connect them to the right person, whether that's the Small Business Administration, the Small Business Development Center, state legislators, etc. And the last program that I wanted to talk to you about is our record digitization program. This is to assist municipalities in the region digitize their town records with the hopes of helping improve resiliency. So this program is meant to create an overall more efficient workplace, but also the idea is that if we're ever faced with something like a pandemic again, then having access to digital files will allow us for that quick transition to work remotely. For this program, we're still ironing out the details, but we do hope to launch this soon, hopefully in this last quarter of 2021. So what it entails is using CARES funds. We're going to purchase equipment, and we're going to take that equipment to each municipality and set up and help scan large plans, tax records, other documents, etc. So we're going to visit one municipality at a time, say for X number of weeks, and then we'll move on to the next one to ensure that everyone gets their turn with this service. To support this program, we're going to be relying on a combination of SRPC staff, paid and unpaid interns, and hopefully we'll also have a municipal staff member present to support with this program. And lastly, after we visit each one of these towns and help them catch up with their past files, we will be making this equipment available for the towns to be able to continue to scan their documents as needed. So that was just my quick overview of the services available to each of your communities, like I said before, under the CARES Act. And if you have any questions about any of those, please feel free to reach out to me. And with that being said, I will turn it over to Jen.
Thank you, Natalie. Right on, see you. So the last project I wanted to mention under our economic development program is community development block grant administration. So this is a newer service that we are offering. A couple of years ago, the Community Development Finance Authority recognized that there was a shortage of grant writers and grant administrators to help run the program. They do require that grantees work with an administrator. So to that end, they reached out to several regional planning commissions to train staff and build that capacity to take on that service. So they paired us up with the Community Action Partnership of Stratford County when they were putting in their application for the winter warming shelter that they hosted at Garrison, as well as the daytime drop-in center that they have on site at Bradley Commons. So we partnered with CAP. The Stratford County was the official applicant. So we're contracted with the county to provide those administration services. We have since put in a second application that will be decided this fall. That is with also with CAP, and the applicant in this case is the city of Rochester. It is COVID's, it's the CDBG COVID funds, which made Rochester eligible to apply. And it will be through the renovation of Gaffney Home. It's just down the street. It is currently vacant and will be transformed into affordable senior housing. This was a new program area that we were taking on and squeezing into our economic development program. So had been primarily covered by myself and James, and Nancy jumped in on grant writing, along with Susie and Autumn, who's on the call, and Mark, who was one of our interns this summer, to make this all happen. And so we have officially made this official, and it is going to be one of Blair's program areas that he will be managing. So that'll help increase our capacity in this regard. So if your community does have a project that would potentially qualify and be a housing project, housing, public services, economic development, there's a few different categories. It has to serve a low to moderate income constituency, but as long as it meets those criteria, we'd be happy to chat and work with your community to help you with those efforts. One of the kind of bonuses of working with the RPC is we are non-compete under the CDFA rules, which means to hire us to be your grant writer or grant administrator, you do not have to go out to bid, which you would otherwise have to do. So that's our quick infomercial on economic development programs.
Comments or questions? Anybody have anything out there you want to add? I'll make a final comment if not, but okay, I think this was a exciting, creative, highly relevant to our communities. Folks were all extremely organized today. You used your time well. I'm excited by this, and you should be very proud of your effort in putting all these things together and the ongoing work and the value that you bring. I think I'm going to give you all a great hand.
Don't forget, we have the next item under economic development. It was Nancy on the resiliency.
Oh,
sorry, I had split it out on the agenda as separate things.
Nancy, I didn't mean to leave you off. I just saw the Dave, which is me at the end, and I figured I'd use my time to do that. But
no problem.
Okay.
I can be very speedy about this. We just wanted to update the whole commission on our resiliency subcommittee, which has been formed this year, and keep you guys abreast of what's going on. The resiliency subcommittee was created by several commissioners who basically in an informal chat decided, hey, like we've just been reactive to everything for the last year. Let's start thinking about being proactive and sort of thinking about how we can region more prepared and resilient without have to have things happen first. So Steph, who left in May, had taken on this committee, and I jumped in May. We kind of have about, we did a survey over the spring, and we got around 7 or 8 different sort of specific topics for municipalities that were the highest priority, such as emergency services, employment security, local economy, water access, business vitality, housing, health, and access to medical care. There were some other things, but those sort of rose to the top. So our subcommittee has been meeting. It's got 6 commissioners right now, around monthly, and we are sort of strategizing to have a quarterly public roundtable. So we held one in July, which was focused on drought. We had Annie Ropik from NHPR come virtually, and Ted Deers from DES come. So we really sort of want and like the balance of having sort of a technical expert and then also someone that's sort of speaking to people on the ground. And we also are definitely focusing on having it be it's not an hour-long presentation, it's a 10-minute presentation by each person, and then it's a conversation with our group. I know Mike Babinski, I just saw you, you were there. We're just about to send out a survey to the people that came to sort of see how did this work. It was really well attended, and I think it's a very positive event. I think this whole concept is gaining a lot of traction. We're pretty excited, and I think it's a great subcommittee. We have identified for our next roundtable in October, hopefully, the theme of stormwater and flooding and emergency services response. So we're not looking at sort of what to do to prevent those things, but what happens when they happen. And I would say a lot of this is definitely focused around just bringing awareness to people, but also promoting and creating an opportunity for collaboration between our communities. And even after the last roundtable, I think Jen came back in at like 50 minutes after it finished and said, they're still talking. So there's been like a lot of nice networking and sort of getting together around this. So that is our quick resiliency subcommittee update. Thank you all.
Thank you, Nancy. Any questions for Nancy or anybody else? Okay. If there's anything anybody has, from their communities they want to add before we sign off today, is there anything you'd like to mention? And this is the time to do it.
A family offered to give the town of Farmington 333 acres of prime land. Cochico River runs through it. There's also water and pond in there. And right now it's at the lawyer stage. Who does this? Who does that? But hopefully we'll be able to open that up for trails and stuff for families. Hope we put in some bicycle trails, no motorized vehicles because there's houses around there. We don't want to disturb them, but it's prime land. It's going to be great. It's going to be a long project to get this done. But I think it'll benefit Farmington and the surrounding communities. Place to bring your families, go fishing in Cochico. Have 2 different entrances, one off of Bay Road, which is 53, I think, and off of School Street also. So there'll be 2 different entrances coming in from both sides. Be plenty of land to get out there, have a good time. So hope to have that built and start running next year.
That's very exciting news.
Great.
That's a very generous person. Yeah. When you have somebody that actually gives land like that, as opposed to something through Southeast Land Trust or Society for Protection of Forest, and they cut, they cobble together a lot of different monies from many sources and all of that. Is there a way that somehow one of those organizations could help with monitoring or something like that, even though they didn't actually, you know, bring the deal to the?
They might, but currently we have several different town forests, our French conservation area, that's monitored by a company that we've been working with.
Oh, okay.
And he goes out there and trims trees, stuff like that. Of course, we get a nice little bill for it, but we try to do a monitored walkthrough with the state once a year on all of our properties. So that's been working out really well.
That's fantastic. It's such a big property. That's the only reason I asked.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Anybody else have anything?
I just wanted to mention, I thank you for all the economic development work that all you guys have done, and it gives me kind of encouragement. I can think of it one or two, even though Nottingham really doesn't have a lot of business. I can think of at least one business that maybe could be some of this information could be useful to. So I'd love to forward that on to them. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Just feel free to share our contact information with them and we can reach out to them and share all this information with them.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay.
Anyone on the screen have anything? Communities?
I'll just chime in real quickly as we wrap up. A couple of quick things from the city of Somersworth, and I apologize I was not able to be here earlier. 3 quick things. One, the city broke ground on a new fire station, our renovated fire station last week, I think. We had the groundbreaking ceremony for that. It's probably about an 18-month project. It's rebuilding a new fire station on the existing site, so it creates its own challenge if anybody's gone through something like that. But we're excited about that. Great opportunity for our community in the city. Secondly, I think there was an article in the Fosters today about the city council, Somersworth City Council, endorsing the Exit 10 updated feasibility study, which currently is in the 10-year plan proposed by DOT. We'll be sending some additional support letters in regards to that. Still see that as a very regional but an important project for our communities and certainly Somersworth. Let's see, I think, and then James already talked about the future reuse of the National Guard, and that's unfolding, and that'll be ongoing for a while, but we're looking forward to outcomes in that regard too. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. All right, entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.